baby. Sempa. As they say, we are here for.
Yeah, we are here from Featuring Life in Khaled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that viewers out there are interested in a lot of things concerning relationships, and I believe that the fact that I've been married 8 years is a good evidence enough to be able to share something with them, good experience enough to be able to share something with them. So I introduce myself, now let my wife introduce herself, and then we'll give out a short outline of what we hope to achieve today. But one of the main things we want to discuss or want to share with you today would be whether or not there can be only one person for someone. Okay, and also what are the things that you need to know as a guy, as a lady, to realize that you are ready for a relationship? Are you even ready at all? And all of those things. Is age an issue? So my name is Oteng-Yeboah, and I'm married to this beautiful lady here.
Oteng-Yeboah.
We've been married for 8 years.
Yeah, 8 good years.
Last month was our 8th anniversary. It was a very, very solemn time, praying and waiting on God and reflecting in our lives and studying more about love and marriage. It was a good time. Yeah. So, to start with, how would a lady know that they are ready? Let me let my wife start from there. A young woman, a young lady, how would you know that the guy is the guy for you, or even you yourself, you are ready? Or what do you need to do to prepare?
Okay, so talking about how you get to know whether or not you are ready, I think it all starts with a good relationship with God. Yeah, because He's the one who initiated marriage, and as we may all know, marriage did not originate with us. It's God's idea, and He thought it up as so. If you want to get into an institution, the best thing for you to do is to first see the one who mans the institution, to know more about the institution and the requirements the person has for accepting people in. So I think that if you want to get into a relationship, and knowing that God is a loving Father who wants to share His ideas with us, He doesn't want us to be taken by surprise with things that happen to us, you would want to consult with Him, talk to Him about His plans for your life, and kind of take advantage of all that He has placed around you to groom yourself as a person. So first, your relationship with God, and also how you handle the people around you. There was something that somebody told me back in 2003, which I thought it was funny at that time, but I've come to appreciate that it's really true, that ladies tend to marry people who look like their dad. Yeah, so some of the things that you find it hard to deal with when it comes to your relationship with your dad, you may want to have a look at it, and you may also want to learn a lot. Give yourself the opportunity to learn a lot about guys, okay? Don't just restrict yourself at an early age to one relationship and you get to be so myopic in your thinking when it comes to relationship. You would want to relate to a lot more people to get to know how they think. And I believe that when the time is right and you are keeping close contact with God, if you are in tune with God, you would in one way or the other get to know that the time is right for you to get married. I give myself as an example. I had it in mind to get married at I think 2013, but as the Lord would have it, I got married in 2012, and I believe it was as a result of my relationship with God and how He led me into it at that time. Because if you had left me alone at that time, I don't think 2012 I would have chosen as an ideal time for me to marry, because I had just come back from school in 2011, sometime in June, July. Yes, and I had just started working. The work was not something that was fetching me a lot of money. So when you talk about the monetary aspects, you could say I was not prepared. But I believe that God had taken me through a lot of things, which at that time He thought I would be able to handle such a relationship. So He gave it to me. And I also believe that marriage is not a destination in itself. It's part of life. So if you are entering marriage, you shouldn't expect yourself to have acquired everything there is to life before you get into it. It's also a learning process. In fact, I believe that marriage is a school where your character gets refined. So if you are staying in close contact with God, when the time is right, I believe He would let you know that the time is right. It may not be a one-on-one communication you would have with God. It may not be through dreams, but God has a way of dealing with you. And I believe that He would use that means, or one that He finds appropriate at that time, to communicate what He wants for you to do. Yeah, and I think He would get to know.
Wow, that's interesting. She said that she wanted to marry in 2013.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get married in 2011, so God just made us intersect at 2012. That's interesting. Well, there's something else that I also want to add to that, and that's also, I believe that you must also have a mentor. A mentor, it's somebody who loves you so much to just accept you as you are. It means that a mentor wants you to develop. Mentor is interested in your growth and well-being. Your friends, the people, your classmates, they just like you as you are. They don't care about anything, any changes happening in you. If this is how you are, they accept you as you are. But your mentor may not accept you as you are, not because they are being discriminatory towards you, but because they want the best to come out of you. So also develop a relationship with a mentor, and when the issue of marriage and relationship comes up, you can discuss it with such people too. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And even talking about that, I think sometimes when it comes to relationship, people tend to isolate themselves and think that it's a private matter. So when they are about getting married, they tend to cut some friendship, which is not bad in itself. But I think it's also a time for you to open up, for people to speak into your life, because I think when we were on campus around 2006 or so, that was when I had gotten to know, I think I had gotten to know about my husband's intentions, but I had not given much attention to it until around 2006, when I spoke to Daddy Prophet about it. And he said something. He said, you don't have to beat yourself too hard about it if you think he is not the right person, if you think that the time is not right. Just think about it this way. In 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years to come, if you see him married to another person, how are you going to feel? And I believe sometimes we put ourselves in an unnecessary urgency that I really need to get married. I really need to be in a relationship. I'm about graduating. I'm about turning 30. Like, you give yourself a number of excuses why you need to enter into marriage or a relationship. But I think that when the time is right, it doesn't come with that kind of urgency, but that calmness in your heart that affirms to you, the inner spirit confirming to the surroundings that this is the right time. God gives approval to whatever thing that is about happening. So there's this calmness that you feel in your heart. The environment itself may not preserve a conducive circumstances under which one would think that they should get married. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't have anything. I remember when I told my dad that, oh, Daddy, I want to get married. He was like, what do you have? He asked me, and I didn't have anything. So I said, I don't have anything. But it so happened that God provided because He had said it was time. And He saying it was time, it didn't come in a dream to me. But that inner witness, that inner peace that I had, and also He confirming it through other people, was something that helped me to know that it was time for us to get married.
wow. And that reminds me, people will be asking, hey, how do you know when God says it's time? How do you know God's voice? And I don't always say, but then let me just say this. In John chapter 10, verse 4, the Bible says that Jesus is the one speaking, and says that I bring my sheep out, I lead them. The sheep follow me as I lead them because they know my voice. And knowing God's voice is a crucial thing in your walk with the Lord. It hinges every aspect of your life. It hinges the decision-making process. It hinges on the way your life will turn out the way, the decisions you make, the directions you take in life. And I believe it's important that we all go to know God's voice. Like she said, hers may not have come through a dream. I had several dreams, multiple dreams in succession. Hers may not have come through prophecy. I had prophecies. Okay, hers may not have come through visions and other stuff. But actually, I heard God's voice concerning her. Okay, so everybody and how God speaks to is different, and we must all accept and understand that just as unique as everybody's fingerprints, that is how unique your relationship or the way God will lead you would also be. And you must make it a point to develop that relationship. So I think we can end it here today, and as time goes on, we'll also share with you the various other things. Can there be only one person for someone, so that if you miss that person, that means that you never marry in life or what? So we have a very, very interesting testimony to share with you concerning that one as well. God bless you. Have a wonderful time and stay safe.
God bless you.